And these are the four main types of clouds, okay? The cumulus, cumulonimbus, cirrus, and stratus cloud. And after I teach you all about these clouds today, you should be able to not only be able to look for them in the sky and be able to identify them, but also be able to describe them using the words that we talk about in the presentation today. All right, so the first cloud that I'm going to be talking about is a cumulus cloud. And when I was younger, I used to lay in the grass and look up at the sky and see these really large cotton balls in the sky. And I used to love doing this because not only did they look like cotton balls, but sometimes I could look at them and say, whoa, that one right there, that one looks like and I'm looking at this picture right here on the right hand side, that looks like a dinosaur, especially the Stegosaurus, because look at those spikes on its back, and you can see its head right there. So sometimes it's really fun to look up at the sky at these cumulus clouds, these really big clouds and nice fluffy clouds, and try to figure out what they look like. And so I would definitely say that one looks like the Stegosaurus. But I'm going to talk about these clouds today. So these are fair weather clouds, which means these clouds are in the sky when the weather is really nice. Usually it's a fair weather day, which means that usually probably the sun's out, the sky's pretty clear, and there could be a little bit of wind, but it feels good outside. So those are fair weather clouds. And usually there's no precipitation happening when you see these clouds. So usually you don't see rain or anything with them. But sometimes it could be just a light sprinkle maybe, or it could be just a light snow. All right, sometimes you will see them then. But a lot of times when you see them, there's usually no precipitation. Sometimes they appear by themselves, which means just one of them in the sky, or sometimes they could be in a line. So you could see one, and then right beside it you see another one. Or they could be in a cluster, which means there's more than one in it. They're like in a group. And like I said, they're puffy. They look like cotton balls in the sky. And if you look real close at the bottoms of both these, there's a really flat base on the bottom of them. Okay, the flat base you see normally when you see a cumulus cloud. It's flat on the bottom, but it's got fluffy on the tops and sides. All right, so those are cumulus clouds. Another cloud is the cumulonimbus cloud, and if you look closely, cumulonimbus, it actually almost has the word cumulus in it, okay? When you look at it, it almost looks like a cumulus cloud, and it kind of is a cumulus cloud. However, this cumulonimbus cloud, it's actually kind of like the mean cumulus cloud, okay? This one is bringing in the thunderstorms or it's bringing in bad weather. And you can look at the difference between the one I just showed you and this one. The one I showed you before had really light sky and everything. It was like really nice day. But this one, if you look at the sky, it's turning dark. All right, and the cumulus cloud that I was talking about, look how big it is now. It's really, really tall, and it almost looks mean. And so when you see this cloud like this, you're gonna know that there may be possibly bad weather coming in. So it's a cumulonimbus cloud. This one's formed by warm or moist air. Okay, and a lot of times it causes heavy thunderstorms. So you might hear some thunder or have some lightning, and a lot of times you'll see downpours like raining really hard, or you'll see hail. And they're usually they're really big and they're really dark, and a lot of times really tall. Okay, so when you see clouds like this, they're cumulus clouds, but they're a type of cumulus cloud. They're the cumulonimbus cloud, and you'll know that those clouds are not bringing in fair weather. Those ones are bringing in the bad weather. And a lot of times you can see it appearing at more than one height. Okay, so sometimes they're really tall, and sometimes they might be medium size. This is the cirrus cloud. It's a third type of cloud that I'm going to be teaching you about today. And if you look at them real close, they're kind of really cool, okay? Because they're kind of feathery or wispy looking, all right? And they look really thin compared to the clouds we were just looking at. And so we're going to be learning about these cirrus clouds today. They usually form really high in the sky. So these clouds are one of the highest clouds, okay? And they're usually really thin. So if you think about something that's thin, you can see through it most of the time, okay? And like I said, it looks like feathers, or they look like horsetails, and they're really wispy, okay? So if you look at it, it kind of does look like a horsetail right there. And a lot of times, they help predict fair to pleasant weather. So when you see those in the sky, a lot of times people know that fair weather or nice weather is going to be coming. All right, And if you watch the movement of them, so if they're moving from to the right to the left, and you watch the movement of them, you can tell which direction the weather is approaching from. Okay, so where is the weather coming from? Where are we getting this weather from? Well, you can tell by looking at where the clouds are going and which way they're moving. Usually when you see these clouds, though, usually there's going to be a change in weather within the day. So when you see those, usually the weather's going to change at some point. Okay, those are called the cirrus clouds. And the last cloud I'm going to teach you about today is a stratus cloud. And when I think about these clouds, I think of it as a layered cloud. Okay, because you're layering. Like if you put your hand out and you put a hand on top of it and you keep layering it on top, that's kind of like what these clouds are, okay? There's one layer and then there's a layer on top of it and there's another layer. Those are the stratus clouds. So they have layers in them. Okay, it looks definitely different than the cloud we just saw. And usually when you see these stratus clouds, they're like covering the whole sky. All right. So when these form when a mass of warm air is slowly pushing up, and then that cooler air, and it's going on top of the cooler air that's already on top. Okay. Like I said, they form layers, and when you see them, a lot of times, if you see them, usually you see them all the way across the sky, and you would see it on a gloomy day or kind of a day that doesn't have any sun, because it's all across the sky and it's kind of taken over, and it kind of makes it kind of a gloomy, kind of a sad day. Okay, there's no bright sun, and it could be a foggy day maybe too, or it could be kind of misty outside. And usually these clouds are really, really low to the ground, and sometimes they can produce rain or snow when you see them. Okay, so those are the 4 main types of clouds that I taught you today. And so you should be able to not only be able to identify them if you see them in the sky, but you should also be able to describe them based on what I told you today. So I hope you enjoy learning about clouds today.